Hello, my name is Alexis Lear, and I'll be talking to you about gender inequality in Saudi Arabia. This is just some background information on Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is located in Asia, and it's the largest Arab state on the entire continent. Saudi Arabia used to be divided into 4 regions, but in 1932 it became a monarchy, and that monarchy is under the rule of King Abdullah. King Abdullah rules under the strict teachings of the Islamic religion, and almost all of the laws stem from the Quran, which is their religious book. Because of these laws stemming from an ancient text, there's a lot of controversy on the treatment of women and other groups because they do follow these ancient laws. Women have few rights, and they're very far from gender equality, and they're very far from men and women even being looked at on the same plane. This slide is just going into detail a little bit more about the laws that prohibit women from doing certain things. One of the laws that was put into place in Saudi Arabia is that a woman needs a guardian. A woman needs a man who is going to govern her life, is going to give her the permission to do things. Now, this guardian is usually going to be her husband, but if she's too young or if she just isn't married, that guardian is usually going to be her father or her brother or another close male relative. This guardian has to give her permission to go out in public, has to give her permission to get an education, and this guardian also has to give her permission to seek medical attention if she wants to be treated. This could be anything from a few stitches to life-saving surgery. A woman cannot get any of that without the permission of this guardian. Another thing that is protected by Islamic law in Saudi Arabia is child marriages. These are girls who are between the ages of 10 and 12, and their fathers are marrying them off to fairly old men, usually in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, and this is completely protected under Islamic law, and it's completely legal. Their Prophet Muhammad married his second wife, who was named Aisha, and she was just a child when Muhammad married her. So, since it's in their religious book and that's where they get their laws from, it's okay and it's legal to do that. Some other laws that are put into place for women are that they cannot drive, they cannot go out into public without permission, they have to be segregated from men when they do go out in public. They can't enter a cemetery. I'm not sure why they can't enter cemeteries. I couldn't find much on it, but that's one of the things that they're not allowed to do. They're not allowed to swim in public. They're not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to try on clothing out in public. And although they are allowed to join the workforce and they are allowed to hold jobs, only 5% of the workforce in Saudi Arabia is made up of women. So many educated and able-bodied women who could hold jobs, well-paying jobs, are not being hired, and it's most likely because they are a woman. Since I did a slide on the laws that prohibit women from doing things, I thought I'd do a slide on laws that prohibit men from doing things. I couldn't find many, but I found one law that is put into place that prevents men from doing something, and that is the law that prohibits Saudi men from marrying any woman from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Chad, and Burma. I couldn't find much on this. It was just a law that the monarchy of Saudi Arabia put into place, and I definitely thought that there would be more laws put into place that, men couldn't do things since they have such strong religious backgrounds, but that was the only thing I could find. Now, just because I could only find one thing that prohibits Saudi Arabian men from doing things doesn't mean that they're exempt from the law and that they can do as they please. That's not true. The law is still very much into place for them, the regular law that, everyday citizens have to abide by. These laws include if you get caught robbing or stealing, you may have your hands chopped off. If a man is convicted and found guilty of murder, rape, witchcraft, repeated drug use, or adultery, he can be publicly executed. And by publicly executed, they don't get lethally injected like they do in the United States. Public execution in Saudi Arabia is getting beheaded, getting shot, getting stoned, and if that wasn't enough, they get publicly crucified afterwards. The Saudi Arabian monarchy believes very strongly in corporal punishment for men and women. These things happen to men and women. And sadly, these terrible practices don't look like they're going to be changing anytime soon. Now, just because I focused mainly on the mistreatment of women in Saudi Arabia, there's many more people who have had their rights taken from them and they can't do anything about it. And this isn't just in Saudi Arabia, but it's throughout the entire world. And these groups of people include not only women, but homosexuals, political, religious, and racial minorities, the mentally handicapped, people who openly speak about not having a religion, not wanting to be part of a religion. They're called apostates, and many more people. And we as a country, we shouldn't stop until everyone's treated equally. Small changes are being made here and there to make strides towards equality, and in the United States, men and women are, in my opinion, fairly equal. There's not anything that I can point out that even comes close to anything that Saudi Arabian women experience, but until everybody is equal, we shouldn't stop, because equality isn't a gender thing. It's not a racial thing. It's a human thing, and we're all equal. Thank you for listening. That's all.